Testing, testing. One,
so
two.
much testing. All of the testing.
All the testing.
Tammy scares the shit out of me. Don't fuck with Tammy. All right, we're back. I'm back, more specifically. Ashley is still slowly making her way back from the Super Bowl. She is no surprise here. Flight problems, delays. We all know it, unfortunately.
Shit happens.
Yep. Maybe we can get Peter on that. Pull some strings at Delta or something.
I know, right?
Right, bypass all those delays. In any case, 3-hour episode tonight.
It was long.
Let's dive right in.
What should we talk about first?
Where did we even begin? We began back in Cleveland.
Back in Cleveland. Was it, what did we start off at? The rose ceremony?
Yes, at the rose ceremony, specifically with Peter pulling Aliyah aside. Already, which to me, like maybe like they didn't do the previously on, but it seemed like very sudden that he was grabbing her. Yeah. And I was like, all right, let's go with this. But things didn't work out too well for our girl, now did they?
No, not at all. I was liking her too, because I didn't think that she intentionally did anything wrong, or did anything to anybody. So, but I mean, clearly her around was like just bad energy with everybody.
Yeah, and like it was a little. I can't believe I'm saying this at the start of a 3-hour episode, but I kind of wanted more because there was
a little bit more of her?
Yeah, a little more explanation too, because there was so much drama around her coming back and his feeling like he had sort of let her go under false pretenses. That to then immediately be like, just kidding, you are gone. Yeah. I kind of wanted a little more, editorial from Peter on what was going on through his mind.
Yeah, nothing got settled, I don't think. It was just, I wanted more of her too. I wanted to see what was going on with her. And, I don't know. That was confusing.
Yeah, but off she goes, and
for sure,
all the girls are utterly confused and just sort of like peeking around, trying to see what's up.
They're happy, though.
Yeah, they are happy.
They are happy.
Right.
Everyone just starts getting along after that, which was kind of funny.
And there are some truly memorable lines about now we can move on, drama free. We'll be done. It'll be all smooth sailing.
It'll never be
from
drama
here.
free. Never.
No. And then Peter does like a little bit of an apology tour.
He does.
Right? He
goes
uses
along
that
with
time.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has conversation with everyone, and it seems like everything's getting better with their relationships. Everyone's having a good time and progressing.
One of my fast favorites is Natasha. I really like she's called him out before, and she brings like this like joking energy to calling him out that is like, I'm still here for you, but also listen, man.
Yeah. Like I was thinking the basis, I thought about it.
Yeah. Tammy, a little less joking, does threaten to burn the place down if she doesn't get a rose.
Oh.
Yeah, that was. Did anybody on your season
threaten to burn it down?
Threaten to burn it down, or have like a really good threat? I'm trying to think of like what, if you were channeling your most extreme self, what would you threaten to do?
What would I threaten to do?
Yeah.
If I was like really upset and just.
Yeah. If you were in Tammy's spot, Tammy's move is to burn it down.
Oh Lord. I don't think I would do anything like that or say anything like that.
Right. Gonna get us in trouble.
I don't know. I would just be like, I don't know. I'm just gonna threaten to eat all the food in the kitchen, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something I do.
Just maybe I would I don't know, set up like a heist or something to steal their store of roses so that they couldn't give out any more roses.
That would be a good one.
Yeah.
Or
Revenge.
burn all the roses.
Burn the roses. Wow, that would be very dramatic.
Don't burn the house.
No. Take the roses out of the house, bring them to like a field or a bonfire or a beach, and then burn them.
Light that shit up.
Yeah. Anyways, another highlight or favorite moment from his apology tour was we got a little brief glimpse of his time with McKenna, and it was just real quick, but like she was just like doing a little dance and just really seemed to be enjoying herself, which based on what we saw, 3 hours later was small comfort.
For sure. I think you have to realize you have to kind of hold on to whatever moment you had last with Pete and just have confidence in it and just believe okay, don't get, you might go a day or two without talking to him, but how'd you leave off last time you spoke with him? And the next time you get to see him, is it progressing? So that's the thing to remember, and not to get in your head, oh shit, I haven't talked to him. I don't know what this is but.
And I would imagine it also is all about sort of making, to use one of my aunt's favorite phrases, like making memories, where it's like you're doing something that's going to stand out, ideally more so than just talking about the other contestants.
Yeah, I mean, making memories, that always sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so after his apology tour, he gives out roses.
Gives out roses.
Kelsey already has one. Madison gets one. Sydney gets one. Natasha, Lexi, Cheyenne, Kelsey, and Tammy. I think that's everyone.
Yep.
Kiara and Deandra go home.
Yep.
Which I was sad to see, but at the same time, the drama kind of buried them the last couple of weeks. So
yeah,
I don't really feel like I have a lot of emotion there.
Yeah, same. But
anyways, it's on to then their destination.
Oh yeah, they were a lot more excited going to where South America than they were going to Cleveland.
Costa Rica, which I believe is.
Was it Central?
I think it's Central.
Central.
I think it counts as Central. But I wasn't. I know it's obviously.
It's almost there.
Like, yeah.
It's almost there. Anyways, it beats Cleveland on the map.
It certainly does.
And they were for sure a lot more excited with that.
And I also want to shout out our producer who kept copious notes during the episode. One of them, which was, I don't think there are many direct flights from Cleveland to Costa Rica, which I have to imagine that's true.
Yeah, I'm sure they made a pit stop somewhere.
Yeah, maybe a layover in Chicago.
Maybe.
Maybe they also got delayed. Anyways, so everyone except one person is just extremely effusive about being in Costa Rica. They are just over the moon, except for Kelly. And this is when I already liked Kelly. Well, I actually didn't really like Kelly, but this is really when Kelly began to win me over, because her reaction was exactly the reaction of someone that has been traveling all day to get from Cleveland to Costa Rica. She was like, yeah, it's beautiful, but I've been traveling all day. I'm a little tired. And I think it read, and we'll get into this a bit later, but it read as sort of, unenthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh,
you get it. You get it.
That's my girl.
Traveling, I mean, we always support our Chi-Town people. But traveling,
yes, we do.
I mean, it's exhausting traveling, especially when you travel with a group of people. And I don't know. And like I said before, I mean, it's beautiful to go travel to a lot of these places, but then again, you are a little bit of a prisoner. So
yeah,
keep that in mind too.
So tell us a little bit more about the travel on your season. Where did you go?
Well, these girls are having a lot. I mean, I went to Scotland.
Yeah.
We went to Scotland.
Scotland's
that
cool.
was beautiful. That was our first.
What time of year were you there?
It was cold.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it was cold. So I'm pretty jealous of these girls. They're in Costa Rica, and you know, their swimsuits and whatnot. And yeah, we went to Scotland, and it was so rainy and so cold. It was just
that is rough.
Kind of miserable, honestly.
Yeah.
But
I have a quick question about packing, because I thought I read something that you don't get a lot of information before you pack for the trips. Did you know you were going somewhere cold, or was it just kind of
for sure. And we didn't have too. Yeah, they kind of give you a heads up where you're gonna be heading.
Yeah.
They don't tell you, but they give you a heads up hey,
pack this, pack that.
Pack a jacket, couple jackets, maybe some boots, winter gear. You're already when you're reading, you're like, fuck.
And you're like, oh no.
But everyone wants to go somewhere tropical. But no, it was cool. I've never been to Scotland, and I thought it was cool to finally go there and see the culture there.
Yeah.
And the history. I would have loved the beach though.
Okay, so on that note, then, if you were the Bachelor, or if you were just planning a vacation, what would your top 3 places that you think you would want? Actually, no, I want to keep to the structure here. What are your top 3 places you would want to go with 13 people you were simultaneously dating?
I know, right? Somewhere tropical for sure. I think somewhere I would like to go is maybe South Africa. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Maybe Egypt as well with the history
all
there.
right.
I think that would be pretty cool. But I don't know. Those just a couple off the top of my head.
Yeah, good choices.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, okay, and one more question about travel though.
For sure.
How did you guys get to Scotland? Did you fly commercial? Did they charter a plane?
No, we did commercial.
Yeah.
From I think we went from New York to Scotland.
Yeah.
It was commercial.
Did anybody on the flight know what was up?
I mean, people kept on asking us, like, are you guys a team or what are you guys doing? Because, I mean, most of us guys are, like, over 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a big group of us. So everyone's really
Clearly
confused why, you walk in big groups like this. And some people know. Some people read, like, spoiler pages and they see who we are, our faces. It is weird.
Did you have a cover story?
Yeah, we were just like a soccer team or a football team.
You guys went with soccer?
That's what we said. Yeah, you can't tell them. You can't say like you're on the Bachelorette. Like that's against the rules, so we couldn't say that at all.
Interesting.
So,
Nice.
yeah, we just said we were like a college soccer team or football team or something like that.
We play sports. Don't ask any follow-up questions. Okay, so back to Peter's season. Peter finally makes it to Costa Rica. Well, presumably he got there other ways, but he arrives at the resort by helicopter, and he arrives with
barely in one piece.
Barely in one piece. What would we call it? A scratch? More than a scratch.
A little bit
certainly.
of a scratch, a little wound, right?
A Band-Aid across the head. And what is the story he tells about how he got?
It was actually a little. I mean, I knew what happened, but it was kind of believable, like how he was like telling it. He's a good little storyteller.
Yeah.
Right. But he was saying like he was going up the mountain, up the volcano, taking a trail up there.
As you do.
Yeah. And then he sees what do you say, a puma.
He saw a puma.
He saw a puma. And they're staring, locking eyes.
Right.
And he had to do what he had to do.
Right.
That was pretty.
He had to fight that puma.
It was pretty hilarious. He definitely should have stuck with that story.
Right. He should have just committed to the lie.
The real story kind of sucks.
It does. The real story, which we got first in like Lifetime level reenactment, where like the camera went all like foggy and there was like somebody walking around, and then we actually got to see based on like the hotel
it's
security
awesome that
footage.
they had that. Yeah.
Right.
Pretty cool. That's so dangerous though. I told him like he's so lucky he didn't like poke his eye out or something like that.
Yeah, it could have been so much worse and thus so much more embarrassing. But yeah, he just kind of whacked his head. He was like reaching down for something and hit his head on the end of the golf cart, and 22 stitches later he was telling war stories. Yeah. I also loved what I loved about that was watching the women during it,
Their
because
faces.
they were sort of like laughing and trying to react, and at first I saw some like reactions on Twitter that were like, I can't believe they're buying this. But imagine if you were the asshole that is laughing hysterically and it's somehow the truth. Like, then that's really not going to help your case.
That is true.
Like, you have to play along. And then when he's like, just kidding, and it's kind of a bad joke, you have to play along then too, because that's kind of the deal.
Or you could be like, that's terrible. That's terrible, Pete.
All right. So on that note, what is the silliest injury you've sustained?
The silliest. Mm-hmm. That's a tough one. I don't think I've ever had a crazy story like that. I don't know. I would just say the stupidest one and the most pain I've ever been in is just probably hitting my toe at the end of the bed.
Wow.
And I honestly just felt like I could go to the hospital after doing that.
Wow, that's brutal.
It's brutal. It hurts so bad.
It's tough, like the end of an elbow.
Or hitting your funny bone or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but luckily I don't never really broke a bone or anything crazy.
I've never broken a bone, but I do have it's technically an injury. It's a story about bruises. During the 2016 Western Conference Finals, I'm a Warriors fan, and the Warriors were down 3-1, and I was extremely stressed out about it. And I don't know if it was a cumulative situation, but I watched the games, and I would watch at a bar, and I would sit with my like arms on a table and my hands like this, and I was so stressed out that I gripped my arms so hard that I had fingerprint bruises on both my...
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I bruise very easily. I'm not that strong, but yeah, that was the injury that like I was walking around with, and people were like, "Oh my God, what happened to you?"
Okay?
And I was like,
"Did someone hurt you?"
Right? Yeah, there was like real concerning.
That's intense. You are like a real Warriors fan.
Yeah.
Damn. Shit.
But anyways, so that was rather
speaking on
silly.
that. I noticed, I don't know if other people noticed either, but a lot of these girls, you saw those bruises from when they were playing football. Like when they were having like their interviews. Like I saw so many girls with like bruises on the inside of their arms and whatnot.
Yeah, I found that also very relatable.
Yeah, they were going hard.
If I was on that show, I would be black and blue. Anyways, again, we'll try to keep it on track now for a little bit longer.
We'll try.
Sydney's one-on-one date.
Sydney's one-on-one date.
Back in a helicopter.
Back in it.
helicopter ride around Costa Rica.
That looked awesome, looking at
Yeah.
the volcano and whatnot, for sure.
Absolutely beautiful. They arrive in like a jungle clearing, maybe on top of a mountain, unclear, in nature, where they proceed to do Peter's favorite activity,
You got it.
making out.
Of course, that's what he's got to do.
Yeah, it's his move, and more power to him. But they also talk about their lives and their backgrounds and their upbringing.
Yeah, I thought hers was very deep, and I mean, I relate to it a lot. I'm biracial, grew up with a single mother, and so I related a lot to that. And it's kind of sad too that she was bullied.
Yeah,
a bit. That's sad.
What she was describing about her high school experience was really moving, and I think it, at least to me, really underscored what can be so complex or hard about this show, where like she's not necessarily one of my favorites. Some of the times I see her like in the group settings, I'm actively annoyed with her. But when you get to hear about their lives and their backgrounds, and I think it really sort of drives home that point that we try to talk about a lot, where it's like these are real people and they have like
real people,
real lives, real backgrounds.
Real things,
like,
for sure.
There's editing involved, but there's also just like the surreal experience of being on TV. And so I enjoyed that. I also enjoyed when they were talking about whether they spoke Spanish, and Peter was like, "Oh, do you speak Spanish?" And she said, "Some." And then he spoke some words in Spanish, and she just looked at him dead-eyed. And then they started making out. And I was like, that is anyone that's put on like their resume or something.
You was
like,
hoping that she was going to respond back to
right,
her.
or like studied abroad somewhere, and they're like, yes, I speak French. Yes, you do, until someone speaks it to you. So I appreciated that. Oddly, a lot to relate to in this episode.
That would have been hilarious if she just said, "See."
Yeah. Yep. He also called her the most mysterious contestant.
Most mysterious, yeah. What do you think about that?
Would you agree? Oh, okay. Well,
okay.
No.
Jinx. You said no.
Yes, I'd said no.
I think she was mysterious at first, for sure.
Yeah.
But this episode and the last episode, I think we've really grown to know Sydney. So I don't call. But again, blah, blah, blah. Then again, Peter doesn't see all that's going on. So I see why he says that, for sure.
Yeah, I think, and mysterious might not be the best word. I think I would go with McKenna, because I don't really know anything about her besides that she's 22 and seems desperately insecure about her time with him.
Mm-hmm. But that makes her just mysterious in our view because of what production shows.
Yes.
Not necessarily what Peter sees. So it could go both ways, I guess.
But also,
depends on what we see, and then you got to have the
if she truly hasn't spent any time with him, then what could he possibly know about her?
That's true.
Anyways, and then there was one more detail that Peter shared during this date that I think we need to touch on.
Oh, the kissing?
The kissing,
The best kisser?
The best kisser.
Woo, man.
He's bestowed it on her. I don't know off the top of my head, has he kissed everyone on the season yet?
Oh, for sure.
I feel
once you get to this,
what we know about our boy.
Once you get to this point, I mean, I'm sure you've kissed everybody.
Right. So he's got his data points, and he's given the title to Sydney.
Yeah, we were saying how awkward would it be if we find out at the end who he ends up with, or if he ends up with anybody, but how the other girls
that's just a conversation. You end up with your wife or your fiance, whoever, and you're watching the show together, happy as can be. That's a conversation you have to have.
Awkward.
Yep. Anyways, back at the resort, there's a group date.
I wonder if the other girls are upset about that anyways. Like,
I feel like yes, because almost...
I would feel I would feel a certain way about that.
Yeah.
Like if I wasn't your best kisser.
I'm not like constantly comparing myself to other people, but if someone else is making the comparison, you want to be best, right? That's natural.
Everybody wants to be the best.
Yeah, because if you're not best, doesn't mean you're bad.
I know. I wonder who the worst kisser is.
Ooh. I feel like that's conversation for
I know, right?
Off podcast, just because I don't want to shame anyone or project anything onto someone that I shouldn't.
That's fair.
But I immediately have a pick. Anyways, group date announcement.
All right.
Stay on task here. So a thing that I didn't notice or realize until it was actively happening, we're at the stage where getting a group date invite is a bad thing.
So yeah, good in a group date. Wait, a group date is everybody wants a one-on-one for sure.
'Cause we're at a stage where everyone's going somewhere.
For sure.
So if you're on the group date, it inherently means you're not one of the two.
Yeah, and it means less time that you'll get to spend. Of course, once you get to this point, like you want to get the one-on-one date, and you want to get that quality time, that one-on-one time. It reveals a lot about each other, and like if you guys are compatible to move on from that time,
Yeah.
just not in his eyes, or maybe you need to figure out if Pete's the right one for you. So this time is very valuable, and for sure, everybody wants it.
So process of elimination, they discovered that Kelly is getting the one-on-one.
Yeah.
And it sets off a minor kerfuffle that becomes a bigger kerfuffle. Do you want to recap?
Wait, for Kelly, it was Sydney, right?
Well, Kelly gets the next one, but the
Kelly
announcement of Kelly sets Kelsey off a little bit.
No, I think the announcement of Sydney getting the one-on-one set her off.
I thought it
Anyways.
was Sydney group date, and then they did the math, and then Kelly was after. Because Kelly's date does come later, but it was the realization that she wouldn't be going.
You might be right. I think you're right. Yeah. You're right. Never mind. Sorry about that. And continue. So yeah, she
But in any case, Kelsey's pissed.
yeah.
the
Kelsey,
important part.
we've learned, since night one that Kelsey's very emotional.
Yes.
And she expresses her emotions, and that's fine. That's great, There was a thing said that she might be drinking too much, which I was
Yeah.
confused by because you only get 2 drinks. You're only allowed a maximum 2 drinks per hour. And they're not even full drinks. And even so, like, what else are you supposed to do? Drink. You're supposed to drink the whole time. Like,
Yeah, so this was a interesting situation because it starts with Kelsey being upset that she doesn't get a one-on-one date and like spiraling a little bit into like being upset that he's dating other women territory, which I find both, I guess, sympathize with, but I'm also of the camp of like, the show has been on for, what are we at?
yeah, it's been on.
20-something
So
seasons.
you're signing up for it.
Yeah.
Of course, like you have to know that this is going to come.
Right.
But then again, also like you didn't
Doesn't make it
expect
any
these
easier.
probably feelings coming and whatnot. But I think you just have to put on your big girl pants and just realize, okay, I got to deal with this. I knew what I was getting into, so let's go.
And Tammy initially starts kind of in the role of friend, right? Like
Yeah, it
she's
seemed like
the
she was
sounding
comforting her.
board for Kelsey's feelings, which then kind of gets out of hand a little bit later.
For sure.
But first, a group date involving Cosmopolitan and a cover photo shoot, which immediately, at least for me, brought to mind like dreams of like America's Next Top Model crossover.
It did kind of seem like that, right?
Where like they would have like the photos and like they would do something else. Maybe it would like the roses would be a photo. I
Get
don't
those
know.
fierce eyes.
Yeah, I really wanted, or like just like bring Tyra in. Maybe like I just wanted a little bit more.
Yeah. And that looked awesome, though. That was fun. I mean, that
did.
would have been good for them to get like more into it, get their Blue Steel and
Right.
Zoolander on.
Worked a little bit more with that. But we did get some really good faces, particularly from Tammy.
Tammy for sure.
Yes. Do you want to explain why?
That should be her like profile photo.
Yeah, really should, right?
So yeah, like we have these girls and Pete, they're taking photos and they're in groups.
Yeah.
Some of them, and then we have a few girls that just become bold and just start kissing Pete while
Yep.
the photographer's taking these photos, and they actually look really good. But then you just have Tammy in the mix of it.
Yeah.
This is awkward.
Yes.
So it's really hilarious, really funny. And it shows a lot of personality on Tammy as well.
It does.
I think everyone actually loved that.
Yeah. A
Twitter
very
blew up.
endearing moment for her.
For sure.
Absolutely. And Kelsey is a little annoyed. Who wins?
Victoria F
Yes.
wins.
Which I always find interesting because, I mean, I guess there's no way to sort of account for this, but it seems like when challenges like that, like the models those with modeling experience have like a natural advantage.
For sure.
But credit where it is due. We all have our skill sets. But yeah, we think we can share the spicy bit of gossip about what happened to her cover photo?
I think you can. I mean, it was on Twitter, on their page, on Cosmo's page.
Everyone knows that's Twitter is the truth. Just kidding. But Cosmo would be sharing actual information about themselves. So Victoria F wins the date, and the sort of prize is that she and I think Peter, maybe just she by herself, will get to be the Cosmo March cover star. But if you've seen Cosmo's March cover, you will see that it is, I'm blanking on her name. She was in Pretty Little Liars and another show. And
I'm terrible with celebrities' names, so I would never know. Anyways.
Somebody else.
It's not her. It's
Victoria.
it's not her.
And the reasoning there is that early in the season, and you may have sort of heard this already, some photos came out of Victoria F modeling for a White Lives Matter group, I believe was the technical designation. And Cosmopolitan basically said, nope, like that's not our brand. That's not something that we can get behind. We're not going to run the cover.
You definitely can't post that either during February. I mean, it's Black History. I mean,
right?
you can't do that. So that was a smart move on them.
That's
all I'll say.
Yes.
I mean, that would be something, but
it would, adding insult to injury in a very real way.
Right?
So, and a small note that again, in a 3-hour episode, I feel like details get lost, at least for me. Winning the date does not mean you won the group date rose.
No. The group date rose comes later that night, but I guess it gives you it puts you in Peter's eyes. So
right. Gives you an advantage.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's take us through the group cocktail party from what you remember, the group date cocktail party.
Group cocktail party. So what do we have? So, I'm sorry, I'm trying to recap. 3 hours. That was a long shit.
Also, there was like a lot of stuff that was in each of the hours, like Kelsey and Tammy. They were like 3 installments of it.
For sure.
So it's like, which Kelsey and Tammy are we talking about now?
Yeah. So we came out, so they have the cocktail party, and everything seems to be going good until, what do we have? The Tammy and Kelsey drama, correct?
We do indeed.
All right.
Featuring Peter.
For sure. But first of all, I think Tammy started it.
Yeah,
when she had heard that Kelsey said that all the girls were fake. She took first-hand offense to that. Like, she really took it personally that it was said directly to her when we don't even know if it was said and who it was said to, but she took offense to it. And
a lack of context on The Bachelor. Can you imagine?
Right. So she just, she goes in on Kelsey.
She does. And she goes in on Kelsey to Peter.
Correct.
Which is where...
Snitching. We got a lot of snitching this season.
Like, there's so much snitching on this season. And there's so much...
Snitching.
I feel like I said this before, or at least I've said it to people in my life that don't want to hear it because they don't care. Don't waste your time talking about the other women. Like, unless it's something that they specifically ask you about.
Yeah.
Why are you spending... And all the drama we've seen this season has gotten exponentially worse the minute they drag Peter into it.
Yeah, for sure.
Who doesn't want to be dragged into it?
I agree. And, if you're going to snitch, so to say, like, it's got to be one to where it's got to be something, like, serious.
Yes.
Just don't go spreading around drama just to spread around drama. If something, like, is serious that happened or needs to be said to Peter, because that, in this situation, that is your significant other that you're trying to, talk to and build a bond with and communicate with. I get that. But
then, though, I'm inclined to push back on it because I would hope if it was something that serious and it didn't come out over the course of the show, I don't know. Like, it would come out when he watched the show and maybe they're still engaged and, it sucks to break up with someone you're engaged to, especially if you've since saved the dates. But that aside, like, it's still, you can still go back on it where it seems like, because I think here we have a really good example of, in Tammy's mind, this is something that meets that bar. It's like she thinks Kelsey is both emotionally unstable and has a drinking problem, which would be 2 major red flags for Peter. And yet the way it's been edited, it seems like Tammy has no business saying those things.
Yeah, I can see that. But at the end of all of it, just everyone needs to mind their business.
Right?
Just mind your business.
Like, mind your business, and people will tell on themselves.
That's true. The truth always unveils.
Yeah.
It'll come out.
So, yeah. Tammy tells Peter that Kelsey, I don't know if she used the word or he comes up with this phrasing a little bit later, or it was a producer, but mental breakdown gets thrown around. Emotionally unstable gets thrown around. And so Peter goes...
That's a scary word for a guy to hear about a girl. Like,
it's a scary word for a girl to hear about herself.
Yeah, for sure. Nobody wants to hear that. Someone they're dating.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Peter goes to Kelsey to sort of say, like, what's up? And Kelsey talks him down well. She does a good job, I think, this episode of calming his nerves.
Yeah.
But potentially exacerbating the situation in the house as a result.
For sure. And before we get any further, just a heads up to any guys out there, if you're getting ready to talk to someone and it was told that they're mentally unstable or, whatever, don't say that to her. Use it in a different wording, I would say.
I would also add on to that and say, take whoever told you that with a grain of salt, because women get labeled crazy and unstable for doing lots of super rational things. So
That's true.
The crazy ex-girlfriend
Wording is key.
Bad trope.
Wording is key.
Yes, it is. Meanwhile, Kelsey's one-on-one date. I want to talk about, God damn it.
Wait, Kelsey.
Kelly.
Kelly's one-on-one date.
I told you before we started recording, I knew I was going to mess up their names.
It's okay.
And I did.
It's still a good amount of them.
They're so close. They're one letter away. Kelly's one-on-one date.
Kelly. Chi-Town.
Yes, she is. Chi-Town represent. I want to talk about Kelly. And I want to talk about, I want to hear your thoughts on how she is sort of being presented or edited. Because I do think I am really drawn to her realistic attitude, but I think it also comes across as disengaged and disenchanted. Like, she seems realistic to a fault, where she is very quick to sort of look at the situation and say, I'm not going to get a chance with him. I'll just hang back. Or I'm in Costa Rica. I'll enjoy this beautiful environment. As opposed to bringing the often chaotic energy that the other girls are bringing. And that energy is really resonating with Peter. So I'm curious what you think sort of about her as a contestant and how it's sort of landing with you.
I think with her personality, I think, like she said, she's not used to this environment. And a lot of people aren't used to this environment. And, well, no one is, so to say. No one's used to this, but everyone handles it differently, Some people are just getting into the mix of things and talking shit about one another. And some people are just observing and fall back and just, are taking everything in. And I think that's what Kelly's doing. And also she's also thinking, okay, what's my odds of honestly being with Peter, and why should I give it my all when the odds are against me? And I see Peter's his side. He wants every girl to give it their all, because he wants a wife. So and only the ones that give it their all are gonna end up growing a bond with him. So I do see both sides. I don't think neither one of them are in the wrong by any means. It's just it's a weird, awkward, situation to be in.
Yeah. And the group date, or not the group date, the one-on-one date, I think really gets at that too, because they go to, they refer to them later as shamans, who are going to sort of do a couple rituals basically to sort of speak to and get at their compatibility as a couple. They have them write some things down. They light some candles that melt in certain ways. But some of the takeaways that these spiritual guides tell them is that Kelly is distant.
They're not on the same.
Yeah, they're not on the same level.
Yeah. And
Kelly, to her credit, again, perhaps realistic to a fault, is like, yep, that checks out. And then that conversation kind of escalates to over dinner. She brings up feeling like there are different levels of maturity and different levels in their life. And she kind of calls out, because he presses her on it. And again, I think we are this season getting a like sneaky number of like good examples of like healthy conversations where we saw it with Victoria F the other week with, running into your ex on a date. But here again, like she brings something up and he doesn't quite understand it. So he pushes and says like, wait, explain to me more why you think that like we're not the same part of our life and all that. And it does, I kind of was a little on the fence about whether she was going to get the group date rose, because she didn't quite convince me of what he was asking to be convinced of, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But she convinced him, so gets the rose.
I think one thing is like every group date, I think this is a good example that, difficult conversations need to come up and be said, and it's just not always like a love story every one-on-one date. It's good to see something that's a little different but still progressive and still like a good chat that grows. Honestly, in my opinion, I mean, all the same like lovey-dovey one-on-ones and like great conversations, like, I mean, that's great, but in real life, when you're getting to know someone and developing feelings and dating, you have disagreements and you have arguments and I kind of want to see that, I don't want to see just the lovey-dovey parts anymore. And so that was kind of like we got a snip of that.
Mm-hmm. And I do think, to your point about like the real life dates, like that is a thing where it's like, it's not an insurmountable, obstacle by any means. But if you, work a 9 to 5 and your potential significant other works like the night shift, like that's a like different thing that you have to like work through. Or, if, I don't know, I'm blanking on examples, but it is like the question of like, even if you really like each other, if you're in different stages of your life or you have different goals, like that's the thing you have to talk about before you get too deep. Whew. He also said something though that my initial reaction was, that's bullshit. But when I mentioned it to you, you had a good defense for it. And that was that he kept telling Kelly, I know this works. I need you to trust me on the process. I need you to trust me on, the Bachelor of it all. And I thought, there seems to be a lot of evidence that it in fact does not work.
For sure.
Particularly, Peter's own experience on The Bachelorette. But you made a very good point, so I'll pass it back over to you.
Yeah, you did say like the statistic rate of couples staying together or becoming a couple after this is very low. Maybe true, very true, but still, like I think what you're taking away from this is like your moments and your feelings, and those are valid regardless if you're together or not. And the only way you get to those points is if you open up and put yourself out there. And I think that's the thing to take away from this. Yeah, a lot of couples don't end up together. It's just how it is. But, I mean, you can never regret that you gave it your all. And, if things don't work out, they don't. But, you had those moments.
Yeah, absolutely. That sort of success on a...
Yeah. And I always get Peter's level. Back. Always.
Yeah, you do.
My boy.
Okay, unless things get too heartwarming, there's more Tammy and Kelsey drama.
This shit pops off.
Right,
Man.
It does. They just bottomless wells of, ill feelings. Okay, so my first note here is Tammy may or may not have lied. But I also can't figure out where we are geographically at this point. I guess we're back at the house. I think we are. That's where a lot of Tammy and Kelsey's drama goes down.
No. This is at the group date party.
Okay.
Group date party, late night, before he gives a rose to someone. And there's the drama going. And Kelsey comes back.
I think we've moved past that drama, because I think this is
My bad.
That's okay. It's when they're sitting on the couch, and I only remember it so clearly because it's the one where one of them calls the other one honey.
Okay, you're right.
And then
My bad again.
She's like, don't call me honey. And I was like, oh, man, there's nothing that escalates an argument faster than like a term of endearment that has no business being there.
For sure. Women hate that, don't they?
terms of endearment?
Yeah, or just like being called honey.
I think it's like contextual, where it's like we hate
Kind of talking down to something like.
right, where it's like don't pretend to be my friend when we are actively fighting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. So in this fight, well, somebody calls somebody honey and things get worse. But also, a thing that jumped out to all of us was that Tammy, in explaining, so okay, I think what happened was Kelsey confronts Tammy about what happened with Peter, because it was like Tammy talked to Peter talked to Kelsey talks to Tammy. They're like, why'd you talk to Peter? This is too confusing.
I'm lost in a black hole of Tammy and Kelsey drama right now. I don't know.
Who said what? And Tammy says that she felt that she needed to express to Peter that she was worried that she was wasting too much time caring about others, which was not how anybody in our room, like in our conference area, remembered that conversation going. Like at no point was she framing this as I'm wasting my bachelor time taking care of Kelsey. But in any case, that's how she frames it. They go back and forth. It's much of the same stuff. Again, Tammy is just really driving home this sort of potential drinking problem.
Yeah.
And the fact that Kelsey cries every day.
First of all, I don't think, production and whatnot would let someone on there with a drinking problem. And again, you have a maximum of 2 drinks per hour.
Yeah.
So, honestly, girl, drink up. Like, that's what I did. I drank the whole time there. What else are you supposed to do? You have to drink.
Yeah.
So, and it's not like it gets to a point where someone's having an issue with it. And also, I didn't like, one thing I could deal with, drama's drama, but don't lie on somebody.
Yeah.
I don't like liars. I don't think anyone likes liars. But
No.
saying someone takes pills
Yeah.
and drinking, that's just something you don't want to
And framing that, because I asked you this, and you can, again, speak to a little bit here as well, but it's like, how would you, I tend to believe it's like a know it when you see it thing, when you can kind of see someone that looks like their drinking might be a little bit out of hand.
Yeah.
But even so, like with like the 2 drink minimum and the limit and the nature of the house, I just think it seems really unreasonable to me to leap from, and again, we don't see everything. It could be much worse, but we don't see like the leap from Kelsey's emotional and she drinks when there's nothing else to do in the house to she has a drinking problem that is so bad I need to bring it to Peter's attention. Just seems a
little too much.
Yeah.
A little too much, for sure.
Just like,
what does everyone else do? I'm sure everyone else is drinking.
Right. And even like the fact that she cries a lot, like that.
Just an emotional.
Right? Like just be emotional. There's a lot going on. And like,
there's a lot going on.
Would I cry for 4 days?
And then I thought it was funny because she
champagne?
was crying in her interviews after.
Yeah.
Later on when Kelsey went back in. Are we to that point yet? Not yet?
Maybe. We are just about to get to Kelsey's Mission Impossible.
Oh, yeah.
So we will move swiftly along because there isn't anything else to say on this installment that we won't circle back to when they get into another fight.
For sure.
Kelsey, full of enthusiasm, goes where?
She goes to speak with Peter. She's speaking just speaking her mind and opening up. And it was actually a good move on her part.
Such a good move.
Because Peter pulled a rose out of his ass and gave her the rose.
He did indeed.
Yeah, I mean, opening up is always a good thing, as we found out. And it worked out with her. My only thing is, why did she walk back to the group of girls?
Well, that's where she lives.
But she was kind of like, she made an announcement.
Yeah,
like,
she did.
Hello, everybody. I got a rose.
Yeah.
I don't want this to cause any drama, but hopefully it's smooth sailing.
Which the look on their faces, you knew, like they were like...
It was hilarious. It was hilarious. Shit was getting ready to erupt.
And so we'll circle back to this in a quick minute, but it's related to what's about to happen at the Rose cocktail party. So she gets back to the resort, wherever they're staying, I don't know if you picked up on this, but they're all already in their cocktail attire. So like they are ready to go. She is still in her, jean shorts and tank top. So immediately my mind was like, how long do they have to wait for her to get ready? Were they delayed? It went logistical too fast in my head, but that's neither here nor there. So she gets back. It's cocktail party time. There's a brief moment when they're all sitting on this, the couch situation, crammed there together. Tammy and Kelsey get into it again. This time, so does Sydney.
This is where I'm lost. This one, everyone was going at everybody. I didn't know what the hell was going on or what was said or who was fighting with who.
Yeah.
I was confused.
And like the first couple go-rounds, it was hard to keep a track because their arguments were the same on each side. So it was like, what was different about this one? This time around, it was hard to keep track because everyone was jumping in and I wasn't sure who was on whose side. Sydney, I think, was on Kelsey's side because Sydney seemed to hate Tammy, but it was just a mess.
In a rapping.
Yep. And then our boy Chris Harrison makes an appearance.
Yep.
Is he nice? Was it like fun to see him? Did you enjoy his presence on the show?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I thought he's a great guy. He's funny and I don't know. I mean, I pretty much felt confident through the whole way until I did it. And when you don't, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was always good to see him.
Does he spend more time with you than we see?
Nope.
Or does he really just like parachute in like roast time?
You guys see him as much as they probably do, yeah.
Wow.
He's not really there hanging out with everybody. But
I wonder what Chris Harrison is doing in Costa Rica when all this is happening.
he's probably getting some sun.
Right, getting some
Living the
sun,
dream.
going through some audiobooks maybe, hiking. Maybe he fought a puma. Who knows?
Maybe.
Let's get a spin-off show of Chris Harrison's off-camera activities. Anyway, so Chris Harrison arrives and says, sorry, guys, no cocktail party.
Yeah. A lot of the girls are devastated by this.
Absolutely
A lot of the girls haven't had their time, and they need that time, and they are just feeling a certain way.
Yeah.
Certain someone, McKenna.
Yes, she does. And they've been playing this up all episode. McKenna's recurring theme of not having enough time with him.
For sure. And sometimes you're just going to get stuck with no time.
Yeah.
But, yeah, she doesn't seem very confident in, where her and Peter are. She's worried, for sure. So going to wait, I'm going too fast. Anyways, the rose ceremony. Are we there yet? Am I jumping too ahead?
You are jumping a little ahead.
Okay, I'll back up.
There's not much, but
I'm going to let you go ahead. No, go ahead.
A little more to say.
We'll get back to that. We'll get back.
I want to ruminate a little. I want to spend a little more time on time. Because I feel like this season, and again, I don't have the previous Bachelor season viewing experience to really speak to this, but it seems like we're really appreciating how valuable like the group date and group date cocktail parties are, where I think as a viewer, we often think of them as just kind of like
waste of time kind of deal.
This mess of people talking.
For sure.
But for these women and men, like they don't see Peter otherwise. That really is their only time. And when he's being asked to give out roses, like sure he can give out the top 4 based on, the people he's been doing one-on-ones with. But for like McKenna's reaction seems extreme to us, but it's like if you've had cumulatively like 30 minutes with him over 3 days, like I would be panicking too.
For sure.
And I don't think until we've seen a season where every group date has been, tanked to some degree.
Yeah, nothing goes as planned.
Yeah.
And realistically, you're only seeing the lead technically twice before elimination night. You have the group date or your one-on-one, and you have the cocktail party. And that's it. Yeah. And between that time, you might have 30 minutes is high, so you're probably not getting 30 minutes.
Wow,
so you're probably getting like, each time you see him, probably like, honestly, like 15 minutes. If that. That's lucky if someone's not interrupting or drama's going down. And if, honestly, you even got time with him. So you might have not even gotten time with him because some other drama went down. But, it's very, a good point.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So losing the opportunity to even have time, even if, you weren't the one on the at the cocktail party that really got quality time with him. Like, just like the lack of opportunity must cut deep. But when we hop to the rose ceremony, not everyone takes it lying down here.
Yeah.
Who jumps out first?
Tammy.
Yes, she does.
Tammy's feeling a certain way. She feels like someone has spilt the beans on her.
Right. The she said goes on again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she wants to tell Peter, I don't know what you've heard about me. Because she rightfully assumes that Kelsey, when Kelsey went on her little expedition to Pete's place, that Kelsey was saying, like, you know, I don't have these problems and I don't know what people are saying these things, et cetera, et cetera. So Tammy wanted to get...
Do you think that changed his mind about her? Keeping her or not? Maybe?
I think we're at a stage where it's close enough that she probably would have made the cut anyways. I think when Peter first came to her to say, hey, I've been hearing these things, he seemed on her side already, where he seemed like he wanted to sort of check in with her, but kind of know, maybe from his own experience, like, it seems unlikely that you have a drinking problem and are emotionally unstable. So I don't think he necessarily needed that, but I think what we saw with Kelly, where it's like he really appreciates, you know, the initiative and the energy and the passion there, and he's mentioned it in a variety of ways before, where like he really responds to women pursuing him. So I think that helped and definitely bolstered her case, which is why he, you know, as you said, pulled a rose out of his ass to keep her around. But I don't think it necessarily changed. I don't think she would have gone home if she hadn't gone to him, but I think it definitely helped.
Okay.
Yeah, so Tammy does the jump out. It's unremarkable. It's, you know, exactly what you would expect. But then McKenna, dear sweet McKenna, who we've seen freak out all episode, freak is reaching a fever pitch. But then, and I was really proud of her for this. I don't know how it necessarily went down with everyone else, but I was proud. She goes out and she goes and steals him. She takes that moment and rather than just continuing to melt down with her fellow contestants, is like, I'm gonna get my time.
Yeah.
Seconds probably, but she goes and she gets some time with him. This, of course, is a ripple effect. Who freaks out next?
Everyone seems to be freaking out, but
everyone, but especially Lexi. Lexi.
Wait, Lexi?
Yeah, the redhead.
That's right. Yes.
The one that I believe Peter forgot back in episode 2 when she was like, "Remember the first night?" And he was like, "Remind me."
Poor Lexi.
Oh, poor Lexi. She's freaking out too, and I guess, I mean, that's sort of like the flip side of all of this, where McKenna she's getting hers, but that by nature means other people, the people that are sort of like following the rules, aren't getting time. And sure enough, Lexi goes home.
Yeah, it's a weird, honestly, like people that are bold and put themselves out there and like make moves are seem to be like the ones that stick around. So the moral of the story, nice guys finish last.
Yeah, and that's like way back in when Kelly drove straight ahead. If you aren't cheating, you aren't trying. Rules are meant to be broken. These are the lessons.
For sure.
You know, so if they say no cocktail party, straight to the rose ceremony, you find your time. You just pull them aside anyways.
Yep, there's no fairness in love and war.
Right? Producers say stay in your own place, see him when you see him. You find out where he lives and you follow him home.
You make shit happen. How deep is your love? If you're like really in love, you better go after it.
Right? It'll be interesting to see how that theme escalates over the rest of the season. But first, so that kind of, I think that's everything that happened in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Anything else that we're missing?
After that, I think that then we just had the rose ceremony, and then he sends home 2 girls or 3?
Yeah, 2. Lexi and Cheyenne. So we, I don't know if any of you saw this, but we did a little team poll before the episode. Reality Steve leaked that the contestants would go from 16 to 6 by the end of the week between tonight's 3-hour episode and Wednesday's 2-hour episodes. So we all put in our guesses for who those final 6 would be. I'm down 1. Cheyenne was on my short list. Bruin's down 1 because he kept Elia around. But I think you and Ashley are still 6 for 6.
Okay.
But our 10 remaining for Wednesday are Victoria F., Victoria P., Madison, McKenna, Tammy, Natasha, Hannah Ann, Kelly, Kelsey, and Sydney.
Yeah.
That's our crew.
Strong 10.
Yep, that's who's going to Chile. So, before we wrap things up completely and let everyone, have one day of rest before jumping back into it on Wednesday, let's do a rapid fire round of superlatives.
Let's do it.
Best use of time with Peter.
Best use of time. I'm going to say it was, either the 2 girls that got the one-on-one date, Sydney or Kelly. Outside of them, I would say Natasha. I think Natasha had a good, ease time with Peter, and I think they hit it off.
I would go with Kelly. That'd be my answer there.
Okay.
Because I think she had the more valuable one-on-one, maybe, where it's she made best use of it because she was on the least sturdy ground. Worst use of time with Peter.
Worst use of time. I'm going to have to say Tammy.
It's always, this is my, broken violin or whatever the expression is. Just talk to him about yourself.
Talk about yourself.
Don't use your time with Peter to talk about other women's drama.
Talk about making a profit on some house flipping or something.
Right? Yeah, I'm sure there's something to talk about. Or don't talk, make out. We know he loves to do that. Anyways, best response to the drama.
Best response to the drama. I don't know. What do you think?
It's my girl Natasha. I love her. I love how she handled the early drama. And I love that when they were, I believe it was at the pre-cocktail party before the rose ceremony, the time when the women were there, but before Chris Harrison arrived to say that it was ending. But she gave my speech, except more articulate, about how she's never going to spend her time with Peter talking about other women and their drama and all that stuff, and that nobody else should do that either. And I was like, yes. So that is my
That's true.
best response to the drama.
That's a good one.
And I love her.
What else you got?
All right, I've got a would you rather for us to end on. And it goes out to Peter's Band-Aid. Anyways, would you rather... Would you rather meet a puma on a mountain path or have video of you hitting your head so hard on a golf cart you had to get 22 stitches go viral?
Well, technically, as of right now, the go-kart was the most dangerous scenario because you don't know how the puma would react in front of you.
True.
So I would go with the puma because, one, it's a great story. Mm-hmm. You can tell that later on. And maybe the puma didn't even mess with you. Right. So that golf cart and glass was the most dangerous thing on this trip so far. So
yeah.
How about you?
I think I've got to go puma as well, just because initially my instinct was, you know what? I'm sure there's footage of me running into things out there. It can't be any worse than that. But then I thought about how, I feel like I've done nature hikes where there are bears, and I haven't seen one, but I've been in parks where there are also bears. And so I feel like if I prepared properly, if I was in a scenario where I might meet a puma, I would be prepared to meet a puma.
I would rather see a puma than a bear.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't think a puma is going to kill you. I guess it could.
I think it could.
I guess it could.
Yeah.
They're big cats, but they're not like lions or tigers. Not that big.
Yeah. My fun animal fact, and this will be the note that we leave you all on, is that of the most dangerous animals of their respective biomes are moose and hippos. So
I knew hippos.
Moose are the hippos of mountain ranges, and hippos are the moose of savannas? Is that what you would call that?
Yeah.
Climate?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that about the moose. Wow.
yeah. I
They look
learned
so
that on the
goofy and
same
friendly.
trip with the bears.
Shit.
So yeah, meet a puma, avoid moose and hippos. And we'll see you Wednesday.
We will see you Wednesday.